Hi, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. Today I'd like to show you how I did this card using Stampendous Duckling Trio stamp. Just showing you here that I've actually already stamped the panel. We've all seen stamping before and I didn't want to bore you with the way I do it. I don't do it anything differently. This is the stamp set, Stampendous and Duckling Trio it's called. I've actually had this stamp set for quite some time, and I've actually made a few of these and sent a couple of them out to people that have had children. The last one was actually for a little boy. This one I'm making it as for like a girl because I've got the pink back card and also the sentiment. I've made that pink embossing powder. Here I'm actually just doing the background with the tumbled glass. I've found that actually if I do this after it's stamped without masking, it looks quite good with like a halo around the little ducklings. This is the way I've done it before, although usually I've actually done the sky afterwards, but I find that at least doing this way, the distress ink will be completely dry by the time I come to put on the embossing powder. The embossing powder tends to stick to the ink if it's not completely dry, so by the time I come to do it, it will be at least completely dry. These three colours I'm using is Mustard Seed, Fossilized Amber and Wild Honey. These are just for the ducklings. Just dampening the area first, of course, with the brush. I think I'm using a number 4 round Art Basics brush here. Just blocking it in with the Mustard Seed completely, over the whole, except for the beak, of course, over the whole area. You'll also notice that I'm going down into the grass area there behind the flowers as well, because that's where the duckling would be seen if this were a real photograph, that you would still see the little ducklings, the yellowness of it behind the grass like that. So I thought I'll just take it down into the grass area, like halfway down. When I was actually young and living in New Zealand, I lived on a dairy farm and we had all sorts of different animals. We actually had some ducks at one time, but we also had some geese, and the geese are really huge, and I was only about 3 or 4 years at the time, and these geese, the gander would actually corner me and force me to actually feed it dog biscuits, and the dog biscuits, they were actually like about an inch or more cubed at the time, and this gander would actually catch these things in mid-air, throw them. I used to throw them to try and get away from it, but it would follow me and nip at me. It was quite scary for a little girl. Anyway, I'm coming in here with fossilized amber and possibly a little bit of wild honey on the brush as well, but I think it's mostly just fossilized amber at this point. When I darken a little bit later on around the wings and further up into the shadows, I think I actually just use the wild honey then. The stamp here is actually quite a good stamp for doing the shading. It's got like the areas already shaded in, like there behind the wing where I'm doing it there, and in front of the wing there's a little bit of shading there. So it's actually indicating where the shading should go, which is, it makes it quite easy to do the shading then. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat at the moment, so my voice is probably sounding a little bit strange. Just touching up the wing there again with the original mustard seed. Just going on with the second one here now. Actually, this was quite a fast card to do. The stamp set is quite a quick stamp set to paint. There's not really a lot in it. It would make one of those ones where you could actually make a lot of them to give away or sell, but I mean, who needs a lot of baby cards? That's the problem. Just touching up a little bit around the face there, a bit more on the wing. This is probably the mustard seed again on the wing. I'm using a 1/4 inch angle brush here at the moment. I think earlier I was using the round brush, but this is a 1/4 inch angle. This is one of my favourite brushes that I use. So over the years when I've been doing painting, it's my background, I've probably mentioned it before if you've actually heard me say, background was actually folk art, and I've actually done a lot of paintings in the past, but my favourite brush was this 1/4 inch angle brush, unless I was doing portraits of course, and then it was the smooshing brush. That's a different brush altogether. But the 1/4 inch angle, I've worn so many of those out over the years, dozens of them probably. But with the inks, they're a lot kinder to the brushes. They don't seem to cause the problems that the paint would actually gather up into the ferrule area and spread the bristles of the brush, whereas you don't seem to get that problem with the inks. So it's much kinder on them. Okay, that's the ducklings almost done. Now just the beaks. What I'm using on the beaks is tea dye, which I didn't actually show, I don't think, but it is there on the desk in front there, and a little bit of fossilized amber, just to get that sort of peachy sort of skin tone colour of the beak. I notice that a lot of people, when they do ducklings or ducks, they actually put orange on the beaks and orange on the feet. That's really not quite right, at least not on this breed of duck. This is just a white, probably a Pekin duck. Now just doing the flowers. The flowers I've just chosen a few colours, but really the flowers, they could be done in any flowery colour. The colours I've actually chosen here is picked raspberry, worn lipstick, shaded lilac and blueprint sketch. For the leaves I've chosen shabby shutters and the grass mowed lawn. So I'll just sit here quietly and let you listen to a little bit of music while this is going on. Okay, well there's the card complete, just the card panel, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this, please subscribe and click the liked button at the bottom. Thank you. Bye bye.